has exceeded the dreaded milestone of 100,000 novel coronavirus cases, while the COVID-19 death tally has crossed the 600 mark. As projected earlier, the country's COVID-19 scenario is bound to see an exponential rise with the onset of festivities in just over a week's time. Meanwhile, the government has continued to exhibit apathy in addressing the fast on to death Dr. Govinda cases campaign, as the meeting held yesterday ended inconclusive. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. The novel coronavirus cases go past the grim milestone of 100,000. 10 more deaths take the COVID-19 death tally to 600. Talks between the government and Dr. Govinda cases side ends inconclusive. Dr. Casey's side say the government lacks concern for the ailing doctor's health. Around 29,000 Nepalese workforce who had returned home amid the pandemic compelled to cross over to India for jobs in the past 2 months. And Novak Djokovic defeats Stefanos Tsitsipas to set up a French Open title decider with Rafael Nadal. (2,059) new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed by the Health Ministry in the past 24 hours, taking the national tally past the grim milestone of 100,000 mark. 10 individuals succumbed to the virus, taking the death tally to 600. Out of the 2,059 infected, 1,409 coronavirus cases were reported from the federal capital. Kathmandu district reported 1,116 cases, Lalitpur 163 and Bhaktapur 130. The country's infection tally has reached 100,676. 2,753 individuals are in various isolation centers, while 4,073 individuals are kept in quarantine centers. 1,680 individuals were discharged after registering full recovery in the past 24 hours, taking the total number of recoveries in the country to 73,023. The meeting between the government and fast on to death Dr. Govinda cases side has ended inconclusive. A meeting was held between the two teams at 9 yesterday evening. Dr. Casey's side have said the government had remained vague during the meeting and did not put forth concrete plans during the dialogue. Issuing a press release, the coordinator for Dr. Casey's side, Dr. Jivan Chetri, has said the government seriously lacked concerns for the ailing doctor's health. Prior to yesterday's meeting, the government representatives had held a discussion with Education Minister Giriraj Manipokhrel. The government side is being coordinated by Education Secretary Gopinath Mainali. On Thursday, the two sides had held 10-hour-long discussion, suggesting that both the committees were nearing an agreement. Dr. Casey has demanded the government scrap appointment of Professor Dr. Dibya Singh Shah as the Dean at Institute of Medicine, citing faulty appointment process. Dr. Casey began his 19th round of hunger strike on 14th of September. He has been reporting of chest pain, breathing difficulties and symptoms of pneumonia. Dr. Casey has put forth 6 demands to the government, including launching MBBS program at Karnali Academy of Health Sciences and establishing a medical college in all 7 provinces, among others. Amid the pandemic, hundreds of Nepali youths returned to Nepal since March this year from the Western transits. In the face of surging corona in the Indian cities, the Nepalese workforce that was stationed across India were compelled to return home. However, 5 to 6 months later, the scenario has changed as all the youths have once again started crossing into the Indian cities. With economic activities completely grinded back home, these youths have been forced to take up risky ventures by looking for jobs in India again. In the past 2 months alone, some 29,000 Nepalese have crossed over to India from the Gauri Fata transit in Kailali.
As coronavirus started taking the Indian cities in its grip, Chapendra Rawal returned to Kailali's Lamki from the Indian city Mumbai, spending 3 times the normal transport fare. Rawal also had to stay in mandatory 14-day quarantine period. Rawal managed the financial affairs of his family for 2 months, but then after he faced massive financial crunch. Having faced with no other alternative to make his 2 ends meet, Rawal was compelled to return to India. Chapendra Rawal is just a representative case, as there are many others like Rawal who have been forced to go back to India to make a living for their family members ahead of the festivities. Making a living apart, all these Nepali youths are risking their lives as COVID-19 has reached an alarming proportion across India, with a daily surge of over 90,000 cases for some weeks now. Despite such risks taken by the countrymen, the government sadly has not taken any initiative towards generating employment in the urban areas or in far-flung villages. Likewise, majority of reeling population have been devoid of availing themselves of the relief assistance distributed by the government. The government, in the meantime, has remained indifferent towards addressing the problem faced by scores of youths from the country.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Surkhet, what's your say on people who return to their village amid the fear of coronavirus, but going back to India again with the festivities around the corner. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
बिहान खाए बेलुका के खाम बेलुका खाए बिहान के खाम भन्ने हुन्छ अब तिमीलाई त्यही नै त्यसकै कारणले गर्दा तिमीलाई बाहिर जानु पर्छ
परिवार बालबच्चा उनीहरुको भविष्यको लागि उनीहरु विदेश निपर्ने यो अहिलेको बाध्यता हो
आफ्नै देशका नागरिकहरूलाई कडाले राजधानीको नागरिकहरूलाई यही राख्न पनि राज्यसँग पनि म विनम्र आग्रह गर्छु
जसरी यो घर परिवारको जिम्मा आमा बुवा या गार्जनको हुन्छ नि त्यसै गरेर एउटा सरकार हाम्रो गार्जन हो त्यो गार्जनले नै व्यवस्था गर्नुपर्ने कुरा
कृषि व्यवसायहरुमा आफ्नै ठाउँमा गरेर खानको लागि नेपाल सरकारलाई म यति आग्रह गर्दछु
आफ्नो घरमा खानको व्यवस्था छैन देशमा रोजगारीको अवस्था छैन त्यो भएर बाध्यताको कारणले उनीहरु इन्डिया फेरि पुनः फर्किँदैछ
युवाहरुको लागि सरकारले चाहिँ रोजगारी खुल्दिन पर्यो हैन तब अनि हामी जस्तो युवक बेरोजगारी केटाहरु चाहिँ विदेश इन्डिया जानबाट रोकिन्छन्
चाडपर्व आइराछ नजिकै यस्तो महामारी छ मान्छे अब आफ्नो रोगले भन्दा पनि भोकको लागि भए पनि आफ्नो घर छोड्न बाध्य छन्
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, who do you hold accountable for the failure to implement programs targeted at employment generation? Your options are A, bureaucracy, B, political leadership, and C, adverse circumstances. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And with that, it's now time for our special segment, Media Watch.
The Province 5 Assembly on Tuesday officially endorsed the provincial government's proposal to name the province as Lumini and to establish the permanent provincial capital in Bhaluang at the Deokuri Valley. 82 out of the 87 provincial assembly members cast their votes at the voting held on Tuesday, 69 of whom voted in favor of Deokuri Valley as its permanent capital, while 13 voted against the proposal. 5 of the 19 lawmakers from the opposition Nepali Congress voted in favor of the proposal, while 13 voted against it. 2 lawmakers from Janata Samajwadi Party and 1 from Rashtriya Janamorcha Party did not cast their votes. Likewise, 79 lawmakers voted in support of the proposal to name the province Lumini, while 3 lawmakers abstained the voting process. Meanwhile, on Monday, a day before the voting, Nepali Congress lawmakers staged a protest against the proposal to establish the provincial capital in Deokuri Valley, vandalizing furniture in the provincial assembly hall. Provincial Minister for Internal Affairs, Kul Prasad Kesi, had tabled the proposal amid the commotion by Nepali Congress lawmakers. The lawmakers from the opposition party vented their ire and resorted to vandalism as the meeting started discussions on the proposal to decide on the name of the province and its capital. Marshals were then mobilized to take the situation under control. The team formed by the government to collect historic documents and evidences related to the Nepal-India border submitted its report to Foreign Minister Pradeep Gewali on Monday. The 500-page report comprises of evidence-based issues on the Sugoli Treaty, including maps issued by India and the British Surveyor of India, historic agreements of different periods, and usage of natural resources. The team has mentioned in the report that Kalapani, Lipulek and Lipiadhura areas have been integral parts of Nepal since years back and blamed India for encroaching Nepalese territory. The government had formed an eminent team on 4th of June, aiming to collect historic documents and evidences to script them before sitting for dialogue with India. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.